Hi everyone, I'm Emily.
I'm Lynn.
This is our presentation on sauna.
It's on left one.
Okay, so sauna can go back to about 10,000 years ago in Nordic countries, hence the word sauna. Is a Nordic word, and it started just as a pit in the ground that people would dig. They would put some stones in it, heat the stones, and then they would cover it with a thatch or some sort of material to kind of keep the heat in one area. And then traditionally it was a wet sauna, so they would pour water on it and create that steam. And that's the origin of sauna, which is like in the Nordic and Finland, which is traditionally what we think of sauna. But there have been different versions of this concept of a sauna in North America, Mexico, and other places. So it's not just in these Nordic countries, but the word sauna and what we think of as sauna. Let's start there. Should I just hit this? Yeah, that's easier. Okay, so the Oxford Dictionary of sauna is a small room used for a hot air or steam bath for cleansing and refreshing the body. There are, again, different kinds of sauna. This is the Finnish sauna, which we think about traditionally and probably the most common in the United States, if not the world. You have your bench where you sit, you have a stove that is heating the stones, and then you can have steam. And this would be a wet sauna, as like the steam is the component that creates wetness, and you're putting water onto the stones to create that steam. This is actually an Aztecan sauna. It was called a tezmazcal, and again, you're just pouring water onto like a heated stone, but you can see it's more like clay based than wood, like in the Finnish ones. There are different kinds of sauna. I put 3 here, but there are other ones too. The infrared one, which you can see up in this corner, is a little bit distinct because instead of heating the air and the atmosphere around you, it's actually the infrared rays that are heating the body and the tissues directly. You can also have a wet/dry sauna, so that was what I was talking about earlier. A wet one is like what we would see here with the steam and like the water on the stone, but you can also have a dry sauna, so that's no steam, and you're just not pouring water on the stones. You're still getting that heat from the stones being heated up, but with no steam. And then also, this is funny, but like a portable sauna. It's a good option for having saunas at home too, and there are a lot of different iterations of that. Some look like a blanket, some look like a fun chair. So some of the health benefits for sauna are improving circulation. This is probably the biggest one, and a lot of the other ones are like secondary to this improved circulation, and dilates blood vessels and increases heart rate because of that dilation of your blood vessels. Likely from the increased circulation, pain relief has also been a benefit that people have seen. Improved stress levels, increased overall feeling of well-being, lower risk of cardiovascular events, which is a big thing with sauna recently, helps with deeper sleep, and traditionally relaxation. In the Nordic countries, sauna was used as something before bed to help relax you and create that better sleep. So 2 different studies that are more recent, both in Finland, because again, sauna is extremely common there. You can see that there's like 2,000 people in this first cohort study from 2015. In Finland, it's only looking at men though, just of note, but it showed that increased frequency of sauna bathing, so not just a yes or no, but the more that people would use sauna, decrease the risk of sudden cardiac death, fatal coronary heart disease, and fatal cardiovascular disease, and all-cause mortality. And then a 2022 randomized control study in Finland. Again, this is a little bit smaller, this is only 47 people, but this included women, and it showed that it compared physical activity to sauna and exercise. And it showed that when you combine exercise with sauna, you have better outcomes on cardiovascular fitness, lower systolic blood pressure, and lower cholesterol levels, that's what it says, than just one or the other. So it goes to show that combining sauna with a regular exercise can help lower all these cardiovascular risk factors.
Okay, cool. Okay, so kind of diving into the health benefits and sort of what's going on with the body. This is just like an overview of what I'll sort of dive deeper into. So you've got this heat stress from the sauna, and as she mentioned, it really does improve some cardiovascular cardiovascular markers. It really does mimic exercise-induced physiological responses. You're increasing your core temperature, heart rate, you're sweating, and there's this blood redistribution to your skin or your extremities, improves vascular compliance in general, and also activates heat shock proteins. So looking more at the cardiovascular impact, so from various studies we see that there's this immediate increase in heart rate by 30 to 50%. You've got the systemic vasodilation, redistribution of blood, and there's an estimated cardiac output increase of 60 to 70%. From chronic, and looking at it more from like a chronic lens, there's improved endothelial function, enhanced left ventricular function, and improved heart rate variability. And this basically just mimics what we saw on the last page. And then diving into the heat shock proteins. So heat shock proteins are basically a large, highly conserved family of proteins that are present in all cells. Increased expression of heat shock proteins essentially prevents protein disorders, aggregation, and so it has this important role in immune function, cell signaling, cell cycle regulation, and in one specific study, healthy men and women sat in a heat stress chamber or sauna for 30 minutes at about 163.4 Fahrenheit, and they were found to have an increase in heat shock protein 72. The actual level increased by about 49%. And so when we think about actual diseases that this could be implicated in, we could see some protection against neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Huntington's, just because those involve like protein aggregation. And so you can see in this level, non-acclimated individuals to heat sort of have this lower heat shock protein concentration, but those who were heat acclimated had a much higher percentage of heat shock protein concentration in general. And then just respiratory system benefits. Studies have shown improved lung function metrics to enhance vital capacity, better ventilation, and for MSK and pain management, reduced symptoms and conditions including fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, and in one specific study, they demonstrated improvement in chronic tension type headache intensity through an 8-week randomized control trial. So very broad benefits overall. And it's said to induce hormesis. So hormesis is this, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, a compensatory defense response following exposure to a mild stressor that is disproportionate to the magnitude of the stressor, sort of like resilience in a way. It triggers a vast array of protective mechanisms from cellular repair. Exercise is an alternate form of a hormetic stressor. And so essentially what all of this means is that in some ways sauna can really work in the same way as moderate to vigorous intensity aerobic exercise. And so for people who are unable to engage in actual physical activity because of chronic disease or physical limitations, sauna could really benefit them as an alternative aerobic exercise. And so clinical considerations in general, it's safe for patients with stable cardiovascular conditions. This is contrary to what we previously believed. And the effects are similar again to moderate to high intensity physical activity, and it's beneficial for those with some cardiovascular risk factors based on studies of men and women, age 32 to 75. In general guidelines, you want to avoid alcohol and medications that may impair sweating and produce overheating before and after your sauna. Generally recommended duration of about 15 to 20 minutes. A traditional Finnish style sauna bath will be 1 to 3 sessions of heat exposure lasting about up to 20 minutes, each interspersed with periods of cooling. And then the cool down is supposed to be gradual after, so some cooling methods involve rolling in snow or immersing in cold water, further stressing the cardiovascular system. And then you want to drink 2 to 4 glasses of cool water after each sauna just to stay hydrated. And then just general risks, again, contraindications, unstable angina pectoris, recent MI, severe aortic stenosis, and again, avoid alcohol consumption during sauna bathing because it can be harmful. Thank you.